Welcome to the Expensive Coins History Channel, coin collectors, numismatists, history lovers, and curious minds. Today, we delve into the story of a humble, copper coin that has sparked much discussion in the world of coin collecting. The 1966 British halfpenny featuring Queen Elizabeth II, with no mint mark, is one of those pieces that continues to captivate the imagination of new and seasoned collectors alike. Is it a rare and valuable treasure? Or is it simply a charming but common coin from the end of Britain's pre-decimal currency era? In this comprehensive guide, we will explore everything you need to know about the 1966 halfpenny, from its historical background and design to its mintage, rarity, misconceptions about its value, and what this coin is truly worth in today's market as of the year 2025. To understand the significance of the 1966 halfpenny, we must first understand the time in which it was created. The year 1966 was a transitional period for the United Kingdom. The country was preparing for a complete overhaul of its monetary system, from pounds, shillings, and pence to a streamlined decimal currency that would take full effect in 1971. During this time, coins like the halfpenny were still actively used in everyday commerce. They held real purchasing power, not just symbolic value. The halfpenny could buy a newspaper, a piece of candy, or a small portion of groceries. It was a coin of the people, carried in millions of pockets and purses across the country, but as decimalization loomed, coins like the halfpenny were gradually being phased out. The 1966 issue was one of the last significant mintages before the coin's eventual demonetization in 1969. This makes it a fascinating artifact from the twilight years of Britain's old monetary system. On the obverse side is the profile of a young Queen Elizabeth II, facing right. She wears the laureate crown, a classical symbol of peace and victory. This portrayal, known as the first definitive coin portrait of Elizabeth II, was designed by Mary Gillick and used from 1953 to 1967. Unlike later portraits, this image emphasizes a youthful and elegant queen, projecting continuity and stability in a post-war Britain. Turning the coin over, we find the famous image of the Golden Hind, the galleon commanded by Sir Francis Drake during his circumnavigation of the globe in the late 1500s. This ship is shown in full sail, gracefully navigating the open sea. The intricate rigging, billowing sails, and fluid lines give a sense of movement and adventure. The reverse design captures the spirit of exploration, courage, and British maritime dominance, values that resonated strongly during the coin's era of production. The coin is made from bronze, has a diameter of approximately 25.5 millimeters, and weighs just over 5.5 grams. Its color can range from a deep brown to a reddish hue, depending on its preservation and exposure over the decades. One of the most frequently discussed aspects of the 1966 halfpenny is the absence of a mint mark. Some sellers and websites list this coin as the rare no mint mark variety, claiming that the lack of a mint mark signifies a rare production error or limited edition. In 1966, all British coins, including the halfpenny, were produced by the Royal Mint in London. During that period, it was standard practice for British coins not to carry any mint mark unless they were struck at a branch mint overseas, which did not happen for this denomination in that year. So, the absence of a mint mark is completely normal and expected. It does not indicate a rare variety or an error. Every 1966 halfpenny ever produced looks exactly the same in that regard. While some collectors may be misled by inflated listings or inaccurate descriptions, it is important to remain grounded in numismatic fact. The 1966 halfpenny is not rare because it has no mint mark. It was never supposed to have one. The mintage for the 1966 halfpenny was substantial. Tens of millions of coins were produced to meet the ongoing demand for low-denomination currency. This was a time before debit cards and electronic payments, so coins were heavily relied upon for even the smallest transactions. Because of this large-scale production, the coin is considered common in the numismatic world. It is readily available in most coin collections, and many circulated examples can still be found in coin shops, online marketplaces, and even in inherited collections or forgotten drawers. That being said, not all coins are equal. The rarity of a coin is not based solely on how many were produced, but also on how many survive in top condition. Coins that were never circulated, that were carefully preserved, or that were struck with exceptional quality can still command premium interest, not because of their date or mint, but because of their condition and appeal. Grading plays a crucial role in determining the value of any coin, and the 1966 halfpenny is no exception. At the lower end of the spectrum, heavily circulated examples show considerable wear. The queen's hair may appear smooth, and the fine details of the golden hind may be lost or faded. These coins typically fall into the categories of good or very good. Coins that are lightly worn, with visible details and moderate circulation marks, fall into fine or very fine condition. Better preserved examples with sharp details, minimal marks, and full legends are categorized as extremely fine or about uncirculated, and at the top of the grading scale are mint state or uncirculated coins, those that were never used in commerce, showing full luster and no signs of handling. These coins, especially when professionally graded by third-party services, can fetch the highest premiums. As of the current market in 2025, the value of a 1966 halfpenny depends almost entirely on its condition. Circulated examples in average condition are typically worth between 5 pence and 50 pence in the United Kingdom, or around 10 to 75 cents in the United States. Uncirculated coins, especially those with original luster and no contact marks, may be valued between 1 and 5 pounds, depending on visual quality. Exceptional examples, such as coins graded mint state 65 or higher, can occasionally reach 10 to 15 pounds, or more, especially if sold to a collector specifically looking for high-grade pre-decimal coins. However, it is important to note that these prices reflect collector interest more than actual scarcity. There is still a wide supply of 1966 halfpennies in the market, so prices remain relatively stable. Listings that claim this coin is worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars due to a rare mint error or no mint mark are misleading and should be viewed with skepticism. In conclusion, the 1966 British halfpenny may not be rare in the traditional sense, but it holds undeniable charm. It is a historical relic from the final days of a monetary system that defined Britain for centuries. It reflects the art, culture, and economy of its time, and it carries with it the story of Queen Elizabeth II's early reign. For collectors, it represents an accessible and affordable piece of numismatic history. For new hobbyists, it is a wonderful entry point into the world of British coinage. And for everyone, it is a reminder that value is not always measured in rarity or price, but in meaning, craftsmanship, and connection to the past. So whether you find one in an old drawer, inherit a collection, or pick one up at a flea market, take a moment to admire the 1966 halfpenny for what it is: a coin with character, a snapshot of history, and a small but lasting legacy of the pre-decimal era. We shine a light on a small and often overlooked coin from the United Kingdom, the 1971 half-new penny, issued without a mint mark, bearing the youthful portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. Though tiny in size and originally worth just half a penny, this coin holds far more weight in history, collectability, and market intrigue than most give it credit for. To understand the significance of the 1971 half-new penny, we must first go back to a defining moment in modern British monetary history: Decimal Day. On February 15, 1971, the United Kingdom officially abandoned its centuries-old system of pounds, shillings, and pence and transitioned into a new decimal currency system. This reform was one of the most sweeping changes to the British economy and was met with both anticipation and confusion by the public. As part of this new decimal system, the pound was now divided into 100 new pence. To bridge the gap between the old and new systems, several small denominations were introduced, and among them was the half-new penny, a coin representing 0.005 of a pound. While its face value was minimal, the half-new penny played a vital role in maintaining precise pricing, especially for small consumer goods. It allowed businesses to price items accurately without needing to round up, which was particularly useful during a time when inflation and pricing sensitivity were becoming major economic issues. On the obverse, or front, of the coin, is the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. This portrait, used throughout much of the early decimal coinage, depicts the young monarch wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. The design is refined, with soft facial features and a regal presence that reflects her status as head of state. The surrounding inscription reads, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD, signifying her title and sovereignty. Turning the coin over to the reverse, we find the denomination boldly displayed, new penny, accompanied by a large fraction, 1/2, below it. Above this, the center of the design is dominated by the image of St. Edward's crown, a historic and powerful symbol of the British monarchy. The entire design is encircled with small beads, providing a formal, framed aesthetic. In terms of material, the coin was struck in bronze, composed primarily of copper with a small proportion of tin and zinc. Its diameter measured approximately 17.1 millimeters and weighed about 1.78 grams. It was a lightweight and practical coin meant for mass circulation. The 1971 half-new penny was the first issue of this denomination under the new decimal system. As such, it was produced in large numbers to meet public demand. What sets this coin apart is the absence of any mint mark. This was standard for circulating UK coinage, as the Royal Mint traditionally did not use mint marks for coins intended for everyday use. However, over the years, the lack of a mint mark has occasionally led to confusion and speculation, especially among newer collectors. Some mistake the absence for a rare error, believing it to be a unique variant. In truth, every standard 1971 halfpenny coin was struck without a mint mark, and it is not, by itself, a rare or unusual feature. But even without a mint mark, the 1971 issue carries special importance as the first year of issue. It represents a moment in time, the dawn of decimalization and the new era of British currency. Despite its utility, the half-new penny was never a popular coin with the British public. It was simply too small, both in size and value, to be seen as convenient. Many people dismissed it as fiddly and unnecessary. It frequently fell through pockets, got lost under furniture, and was commonly found collecting dust in kitchen drawers. Because of its perceived inconvenience, public sentiment toward the coin was largely negative. Over time, retailers began rounding prices and consumers preferred larger denominations. The half-new penny gradually faded from daily transactions. By 1984, just over a decade later, the coin was officially withdrawn from circulation and demonetized. Its brief lifespan and early retirement from the currency system added to its legacy as a coin that, while common in its time, became obsolete faster than most. In today's numismatic world, the 1971 half-new penny holds a special place as both a historical artifact and a collectible entry point, due to the enormous number of coins minted in 1971. The halfpenny remains relatively common in circulated condition. Millions still exist in private hands, drawers, and old coin jars. However, what elevates its value from negligible to noteworthy is condition. Grading is key. A heavily worn example may fetch only a few cents, while an uncirculated or proof specimen can command significantly higher value. Coins that retain their original luster, show no signs of wear, and have sharp details are more desirable to collectors, particularly those assembling high-grade decimal coin collections. Additionally, some proof versions were struck for collectors and special sets. These proof coins feature a mirror-like finish and sharper detail, and are often housed in presentation packaging. While still not exceedingly rare, these coins are much less common than their circulation counterparts and tend to attract more serious collectors. In circulated condition, the coin typically holds minimal monetary value, usually less than $1. In average condition, it is worth more as a historical piece or part of a starter collection than as a financial investment. However, as condition improves, so does the value. A coin in extremely fine condition might be valued at around $1. A brilliant uncirculated example can sell for several dollars, especially if it is well preserved and presented. A certified, professionally graded proof coin can reach higher figures, particularly among collectors looking to complete a pristine decimal coinage set. While the coin is unlikely to make anyone rich, its value lies in its significance, its place in monetary history, and the sentimentality attached to its era. For those who live through decimal day, the coin is a powerful symbol of a changing world and the evolution of everyday life. In strict numismatic terms, the 1971 half-new penny is not rare. It was produced in massive quantities and is still readily available. However, as time goes on, high-grade examples become harder to find. Coins stored properly, untouched by circulation, and preserved in mint condition are slowly being absorbed into private collections. Moreover, coins with full original red luster are especially sought after. Bronze coins tend to oxidize and darken with time, so a brilliant red specimen from 1971 is increasingly scarce. Over the coming decades, such high-grade examples may gain further attention from collectors of British decimal coinage. The coin's future value will likely remain modest, but steady. It is not a speculative investment, but it is a respected and foundational piece in any British coin collection. The 1971 no-mint mark Elizabeth II half-new penny is more than just a tiny, forgotten coin. It marks a transition in British history, the modernization of a nation's currency, and the challenges of adapting to economic change. It embodies the era in which it was born, the early 70s, a time of transformation, inflation, and shifting values. While it may not be rare or immensely valuable, it holds its own in the world of numismatics. Whether you collect for history, design, or legacy, the 1971 half-new penny offers something meaningful. So, the next time you come across this small coin, don't overlook it. Within its coppery shell lies a story of economic revolution and cultural memory. The 1973 British new penny, featuring Queen Elizabeth II and bearing no mint mark. Over the next several minutes, we're going to take a deep dive into this particular coin, its historical background, its design, why it seems to stir so much conversation, the truth about its rarity, and of course, its true market value in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just starting your coin collecting journey, this is a video you won't want to miss. The early 1970s marked a monumental shift in British currency. On the 15th of February 1971, known as Decimal Day, the United Kingdom officially transitioned from the centuries-old pounds, shillings, and pence system to a modern decimalized format. It was a bold step to simplify currency and align with international standards. As part of this decimalization process, several new coins were introduced to the public. Among them was the 1 penny coin, commonly referred to at the time as the new penny. The term new was added on the reverse to distinguish it from the pre-decimal penny, which had a very different size, metal composition, and purchasing power. Now, fast forward 2 years to 1973. This year saw the continued production of the new penny, and the coin that we're talking about today, the 1973 issue, entered the scene. And here's something that's key to understand: these coins do not have a mint mark. That's completely normal for British coinage, and we'll explain that further in a moment. Now let's talk design. The 1973 new penny features the second portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by sculptor Arnold Machin. In this regal effigy, the Queen is shown facing right, wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a design familiar to many collectors and one that graced several denominations for decades. On the reverse, the coin displays a symbol that's both historic and majestic, the crown portcullis. This design is surrounded by the inscription "New Penny" above and the numeral 1 below. The portcullis, a heavy grilled gate often associated with castles and the Palace of Westminster, represents the link between tradition and governance. This reverse was created by Christopher Ironside, one of the most prominent coin designers of the 20th century. The coin is made of bronze, an alloy of copper, tin, and zinc. It has a diameter of approximately 20.3 millimeters, weighs around 3.56 grams, and features a plain edge. Many people become curious, or even excited, when they realize that their 1973 new penny coin has no mint mark. That's when you'll often see questions pop up online like, is this an error, or could this be a rare misprint worth hundreds or thousands? Let's clarify that right now. It is completely normal for British coins not to have mint marks. Unlike coins from the United States or some Commonwealth countries, the Royal Mint generally does not include mint marks on standard circulating coins. So the fact that your 1973 penny doesn't display a mint mark does not make it rare, unusual, or particularly valuable by default. Here's the truth: it's not rare at all. In fact, the Royal Mint produced an enormous quantity of 1973 new penny coins for general circulation. These coins were minted in the hundreds of millions, making them one of the most common one-penny coins of the early decimal era. In addition to the regular circulating coins, the Royal Mint also produced a limited number of proof sets that year. These proof coins were struck with specially polished dies on high-quality planchets and were intended for collectors, not circulation. These proofs are of a much higher quality than regular coins and can fetch better prices on the market, especially if kept in pristine condition. However, standard circulation coins from 1973 are still extremely common. They were minted in such large quantities that it's almost guaranteed to find one in any random lot of UK pennies from the 1970s. Despite the facts, the 1973 new penny has become the subject of online speculation. Why? Because of misleading listings on auction sites, social media posts, and viral videos claiming these coins are worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars or pounds, many sellers list these coins at inflated prices, hoping that an uninformed buyer will believe the coin is rare or misprinted. A common tactic is to highlight the lack of a mint mark or to claim the coin has a mysterious flaw. In some cases, normal wear and tear is misrepresented as a minting error. So let's set the record straight: unless your 1973 penny is a proof coin in excellent condition, or unless it has a verified and certified minting error, its value is generally quite low. That said, there is one area where value can increase significantly, and that's with genuine minting errors. True error coins are extremely rare and must be evaluated by professional grading services. These can include misstrikes, die cracks, off-center strikes, and other production anomalies. If a 1973 new penny displays a genuine error that is certified by a recognized authority, its value could increase substantially, sometimes into the hundreds of dollars. However, keep in mind that error coins are the exception, not the rule. Most coins with unusual features are just the result of damage, corrosion, or environmental exposure, not minting mistakes. A standard circulation grade 1973 new penny with visible wear is typically valued between $1 and $3 or pounds. These are coins that were used in everyday transactions and show signs of age, scratches, dulling, and small dings. A brilliant uncirculated example, meaning one that has never been in circulation and has retained its original luster, might sell for around $5 to $20 or pounds, depending on the quality and the buyer's interest. A proof version of the 1973 new penny, especially if still in its original packaging and in flawless condition, can sell for $50 to $100 or more, particularly if certified by a grading company. Error coins, if authenticated and significant, can reach values of several $100s, but again, these are rare and must be properly graded to confirm legitimacy. So, should you keep your 1973 new penny? That depends on your goals. If you're a casual collector, it's a great coin to have in your decimalization collection, especially if it's in great condition. It's a snapshot of British monetary history. If you're hoping to sell it, keep your expectations grounded. Unless your coin is a proof specimen or has a verifiable mint error, its value is largely sentimental or educational. It's not going to make you rich, but it can still be a fun addition to any collection. The 1973 no mint mark British new penny is a fascinating coin, not because it's ultra-rare or hidden treasure, but because it represents a turning point in British monetary history. It reminds us of the shift toward modernization and the way coinage reflects society's evolution. While the internet may be full of hyped-up claims, the reality is more grounded. This is a common coin with common value, but that doesn't mean it isn't worth collecting. Value isn't always about price. Sometimes, value lies in the story, the history, and the act of discovery. So the next time you find one of these coins in a drawer or at a market stall, smile, because you're holding a piece of the past. We embark on an incredible journey through time to uncover the full story of a coin that marked a revolutionary moment in British currency, the 1971 Elizabeth II one-new penny. This small, humble coin may seem ordinary at first glance, but its roots are steeped in national change, historical symbolism, and the dawn of a modernized British economy. In this video, we'll uncover the coin's origins, its design evolution, its mass production, its misunderstood rarity, the special era varieties that make certain examples worth thousands, and what this coin is truly worth in the collector's market of 2025. The year 1971 is etched into British economic history for one monumental reason: decimalisation. On the 15th of February 1971, the United Kingdom officially switched from the centuries-old system of pounds, shillings, and pence, to a simplified decimal currency. This change was not merely cosmetic, it was a national shift in how money was understood, used, and taught. Gone were the days of complex arithmetic with 12 pence to a shilling and 20 shillings to a pound. In its place came 100 new pence to the pound, a system easier to understand, calculate, and standardize. As part of this sweeping transition, the Royal Mint introduced a fresh lineup of decimal coins, including the halfpenny, the one new penny, the two new pence, and so on. Among them, the 1971 one new penny played a leading role as the most accessible and widely distributed of the new coins. It was a symbol of change, literally and figuratively. The 1971 one new penny features an elegant and balanced design, one that reflected both British tradition and forward-looking simplicity. The obverse of the coin features the second portrait of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, facing right, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. This regal yet youthful image was created by Arnold Machin, a renowned British sculptor, and became one of the most iconic portraits in modern coinage. Surrounding the portrait is the legend, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD 1971. The Latin inscriptions stand for De Gratia Regina Fidei Defensor, meaning, by the grace of God, Queen and Defender of the Faith. At the bottom of the inscription, the date 1971 signifies its historical minting year. On the reverse, the coin features a crowned portcullis, an ancient gate symbol associated with the Palace of Westminster and the British Parliament. Designed by Christopher Ironside, the portcullis embodies stability, tradition, and governance. The words "New Penny" appear along the top curve, and the numeral 1 is boldly struck below the design, denoting the coin's value. The coin was struck in bronze, made from an alloy of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. It measured 20.32 mm in diameter and weighed 3.56 grams. The edge of the coin is plain, in keeping with its low denomination status. One of the defining facts about the 1971 one new penny is its sheer mintage volume. More than 1.5 billion coins were produced for general circulation. This vast quantity makes it one of the most widely minted coins in British numismatic history. The decision to produce such a high volume was strategic. With an entire nation needing decimal coins, and a new currency system to support, the Royal Mint flooded the economy with these coins to ensure smooth transition. For many Britons, this penny was the first decimal coin they ever held in their hands. In addition to the circulation coins, a limited number of proof sets were also created for collectors. These sets featured high-quality, uncirculated coins with mirror-like finishes, protected in presentation packaging. While more refined in appearance, these proofs were still relatively accessible and were not produced in tiny numbers. Because of this high production, the 1971 one new penny is not rare in the traditional sense. In fact, it's quite common to find them in coin jars, family collections, and even mixed into modern change. Despite being demonetized in 1992, you may have come across online listings claiming that the 1971 one new penny is worth hundreds or even thousands of pounds. These headlines often say, "Check your change. You could be sitting on a fortune." But how true are these claims? In truth, the standard 1971 new penny, in circulated condition, holds minimal monetary value. Most examples trade for between 50 pence to £1 in average condition. Even uncirculated examples, kept in pristine shape since 1971, may only fetch between £2 to £5, unless they are part of a full-proof set. However, there are very specific and extremely rare variants of the 1971 penny that can command serious money. And these are what we will now explore. Point 1. Of the most coveted varieties is the double die obverse error. This occurs when the coin's design is accidentally stamped twice, creating a subtle but visible duplication, often around the lettering or the queen's portrait. On such coins, collectors may observe shadows or overlapping letters in Elizabeth or DG Reg. These errors are extremely scarce, and their value skyrockets depending on the coin's condition. A lightly circulated example with a clear double die might fetch a few £100s. An uncirculated, certified error graded by a reputable grading service could reach into the thousands. Coins in mint state condition, with a grade of MS65 or higher, have been known to command prices well over £1,000. In exceptional cases, the value can reach up to £10,000 or more, particularly if the error is dramatic and well-preserved. Other rare errors include off-center strikes, die cracks, planchet flaws, or missing elements in the design. However, genuine examples are incredibly hard to come by and should be authenticated before any assumptions are made about their worth. Here is a general value guide. Circulated standard coins, typically 50p to £1. Uncirculated coins, loose, not graded, around £2 to £5. Proof coins in original packaging, £10 to £50, depending on completeness and condition. Error coins, especially double die or off-center, £100 to £10,000 plus, based on severity and certified grade. The true value lies not in the coin's face value or mintage, but in its condition, rarity of errors, and the market demand among serious collectors. If your coin is graded by a trusted authority and features a recognized error, it may indeed be worth a significant amount. If you own a 1971 one new penny, the first step is to examine it closely. Use a magnifying lens to look for doubling in the lettering or portrait. Check for any unusual marks, misalignments, or missing details. If you believe you found an error, the best course of action is to submit the coin to a professional grading service. Avoid relying solely on online marketplaces when determining value. Many inflated listings are designed to mislead or attract clicks. A coin's true value is determined by what a buyer is actually willing to pay, and what a coin has sold for in verified auctions. Lastly, remember that collecting coins isn't always about the money. The 1971 new penny holds a special place in history. It symbolizes a national transformation, a new chapter in monetary evolution, and a glimpse into the design excellence of its time. The 1992 no mint mark Elizabeth II British one-penny coin. This small coin not only represents an important era in British currency but also holds a special place in numismatic circles because of its unique features, rarity, and value. Whether you're a seasoned collector or simply curious about British coinage, this video will provide you with a comprehensive understanding of the 1992 one-penny coin, its historical significance, its rarity, and what you can expect in terms of market value in 2025. To appreciate the 1992 British one-penny coin fully, it's essential to understand its place in the timeline of British coinage. The penny has been a fundamental unit of currency in the United Kingdom for centuries. However, the modern one-penny coin we recognize today was introduced as part of the decimalisation process in 1971, when Britain transitioned from the old pounds, shillings, and pence system to a decimal currency system. The 1992 penny belongs to the third portrait era of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by the renowned sculptor Raphael David Maklauf. This portrait was used on British coins from 1985 until 1997 and is characterized by a youthful yet regal depiction of the Queen wearing the George IV state diadem. The inscription around the portrait reads Elizabeth II DG Reg FD 1992, which translates to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith, with the year of minting clearly marked, now, 1992 is a pivotal year because it marks a key transition in the coin's composition. For over 2 decades, British pennies were made from bronze, primarily composed of copper with small amounts of tin and zinc. However, the price of copper soared dramatically by the early 1990s, making the production of bronze pennies uneconomical. To keep costs manageable, the Royal Mint decided to change the metal composition from bronze to copper-plated steel starting in 1992. The design of the 1992 penny is quite consistent with the preceding and succeeding years, but it carries subtle changes that numismatists find intriguing. The reverse side of the coin features the iconic image of the portcullis with chains, an emblem associated with the Palace of Westminster and British parliamentary heritage. The portcullis symbolizes security and the strength of British governance, crowned to signify royal authority. Surrounding the image are the words 1 penny along with the numeral 1, indicating its denomination. The coin measures 20.3 mm in diameter, with a weight of approximately 3.56 grams when made from bronze. However, once the switch to copper-plated steel was introduced, the weight decreased slightly due to the different density of steel compared to bronze. One of the key physical ways to distinguish the two compositions is magnetism. The bronze pennies are non-magnetic, whereas the copper-plated steel pennies are magnetic, making it easy for collectors and casual holders to differentiate between the two versions without sophisticated equipment. In 1992, the Royal Mint produced 2 distinct types of pennies, those intended for general circulation made from copper-plated steel, and limited numbers of bronze pennies reserved for collector sets such as proof and brilliant uncirculated issues. This dual production in the same year gives the 1992 penny a unique standing in the history of British coins. Understanding mintage figures is crucial in gauging a coin's rarity and potential value. The 1992 copper-plated steel pennies were produced in vast quantities, with over 250 million coins struck for circulation. This makes the circulating copper-plated steel 1992 penny one of the most common pennies of that year, widely available in change across the UK and beyond. Conversely, the bronze pennies from 1992 were produced in much smaller quantities, specifically for collector's sets. These limited edition coins number less than 150,000 combined across proof and brilliant uncirculated issues, making them much rarer. Because these collector coins were not meant for circulation, they generally remain in pristine condition, which further enhances their appeal. Additionally, there are 2 reverse die varieties that collectors should be aware of, Type A and Type B. Type A pennies feature raised dots at the intersections of the portcullis bars, while Type B has recessed circles in the same areas. These subtle differences are important to specialist collectors and can affect a coin's collectability. The 1992 penny's rarity depends heavily on which version you are holding. The copper-plated steel circulating pennies, while historically interesting, are extremely common and usually only hold nominal value beyond face value unless in exceptional condition. Due to their magnetic steel composition and large mintage, they are generally seen as everyday coins rather than valuable collectibles. The true rarity lies in the bronze collector pennies issued in that same year. These coins are much harder to come by, especially in uncirculated or proof condition. Because their mintage was limited and they were not released into general circulation, they are sought after by collectors who specialize in British decimal coinage. As a result, the bronze 1992 pennies can command premiums well above their face value. Collectors also prize coins that exhibit sharp detail, good strike quality, and no signs of wear or damage. Packaging such as original mint boxes or certificates of authenticity further increase the desirability of these coins. For the common copper-plated steel pennies from 1992, the market value remains modest. Circulated examples are usually worth only their face value or a small premium at best. However, uncirculated or mint-condition steel pennies can sometimes fetch a price ranging between $5 to $10 in the collector's market, depending on demand and the grading quality. On the other hand, the bronze pennies, especially those preserved in proof or brilliant uncirculated sets, can be worth considerably more. These coins may command prices from $20 up to $50 or more for examples in flawless condition. Coins graded by professional services and accompanied by original packaging often achieve the higher end of this range. It is important to note that despite some misconceptions circulating online, the 1992 British 1-penny coin does not have any known error variants that significantly affect its value. Unlike certain rare error coins from other countries that can be worth thousands or tens of thousands, this penny's value is rooted mainly in its composition change and collector interest rather than minting mistakes. If you come across a 1992 penny and want to assess its potential value or rarity, here are some tips. First, test its magnetism. If it sticks to a magnet, you have a copper-plated steel circulating penny, which is common. If it is non-magnetic, it is likely the bronze collector version, which is rarer. Second, examine the coin's condition carefully. Look for any wear, scratches, or damage. Coins in mint or near mint condition are significantly more valuable than worn examples. Additionally, if your penny came as part of a proof or brilliant uncirculated set with packaging, keep that intact, as it adds to the value. Though it might be easy to overlook a 1-penny coin, the 1992 no-mint mark penny stands as a small but important marker of British monetary history. It represents the final year of a significant composition change from bronze to copper-plated steel, highlighting the economic pressures that influenced minting decisions. Moreover, it provides collectors with an intriguing variety of coins to hunt for: common circulating steel pennies, limited edition bronze collector pieces, and subtle die varieties. These layers of history and variety make the 1992 penny a meaningful collectible, demonstrating how even everyday objects can tell compelling stories about economy, technology, and culture. So, whether you find yourself with a handful of 1992 pennies or happen to stumble across a pristine collector's edition, understanding the nuances of this coin helps you appreciate its true value beyond just 1 penny. If you enjoyed this detailed exploration and want more numismatic deep dives, don't forget to like, subscribe the Expensive Coins History channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we uncover more fascinating stories hidden in coins.